Hello, teachers. This is for term 2, week. Let me see. I think it is week 6, if I'm not wrong, or is it week 7? I got my time lost, but anyway, this is for primary 2, right? Topic, and we are dealing with 2 booklets today, right? 0225 SWP, solving word problems with involving multiplication and division, and the second book is on time. So 2 books, and I'm afraid the time might be a bit tight because these are not easy topics. Okay, so let me start with the first booklet on what needs to be covered. So here we are dealing with word problems involving multiplication and division. The focus is on drawing the bar models, right? And there are a few bar models that you need to show them how to do it, okay? So let's see. As what I've discussed in the earlier lessons, okay, instead for lessons that involve drawing of bar models, I prefer that the teacher, instead of going through the training segment or the teaching segment, to go straight into guided practice, right, and show them how to draw instead, right, so that they can model after you. Now, there are a few types of bar model that you need to take note of. The first question, right, most of them would have done it early on, right, but use it as a chance to do a quick recap. So for this bar model, it is in terms of, let's see, the number of groups are provided, right? You might want to use groupings, right, which they learned early on, right, when it comes to multiplication and division. So 5 bags, so this refers to groupings, right, number of groups, right? So 5 groups, you can tell them that one group is actually one rectangle or square, right, depending on how they draw it, right? And then eventually, of course, we're going to use unit, right, to describe these so-called groups. Okay, so for this model, quite simple, 5 bags, right? So 5 groups, right? That's supposed to be 5 groups, and the total is 10 kilograms. So you label them like that. Okay. And the question is, what is the mass of 1 bag of rice, which is what is the mass of 1 group, right, of rice, right? So again, they should write the equation, and then of course the statement, right? So I think this is easy. They have done it before, right? So use it as a way for them to refresh their memory. Second question is a bit different, in which the number of groups is provided, okay, and then within each group the quantity is provided as well, right? But what is not provided is the total, right? So here they understand that if it's finding about each bag, right, it is usually division. But in this case, because it's finding the total, they have to use multiplication. Okay, so take them through this, right? Draw it, get them to draw it as well, right? So that they have an idea, is to refresh your memory, right, on what needs to be done for the kind of multiplication question. Now, question 3 is very different. It's something new, and this is a very important model that they need to learn. Okay, so we'll appreciate if we can spend a bit more time on this. So this is comparison model. All right, they need to compare, because here you need to identify, when to draw a comparison model, right? So when the student see things like 4 times, right, 4 times, twice, thrice, this means that they need to compare. This is multiplication, which means usually questions like this would involve multiplication and division. So they need to know that they need to draw 2 models. 2 bars. Okay, so for this one, again, our way of teaching students is drawing sentence by sentence, right? So box A weighs 7 kilograms, right? So what they do is they draw a bar first. Okay, so I leave it to you to how you want to draw, whether you want to draw a square or not, right? But this is what you should do, right? 1 sentence, right? So box A, all right, and then weighs 7 kilogram. Okay, so this is 1 time. And then if box B is 4 times as heavy, right, what that means is it needs to have 4 of the same, well, whether they are drawing squares or whether they are drawing a rectangle, make sure that they draw it in a very proportionate, they draw it proportionally, right, so that the size are, more or less the same. Okay, so 4 times. So tell them, right, so look at this, right, box A is 7 kilograms. 4 times means you draw 4 times of this box, right? So 4 times, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and that means 4 times. All right. So here you might want start to introduce to them. You call it one box or one rectangle, or you can call it 1 unit. And these are all 1 units. Okay. And let's not forget the question is what is the total mass of the 2 boxes? So they need to write the total here, the question mark here. All right. So one way to teach them, because this is something new to them, right? You have to tell them, okay, look, 1 unit equals 7. Right? Please write that. And then you ask them the total, right? How many units are there? A and B together. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So there are 5 units altogether, right? Then you say, okay, so 5 units then, okay, would be equals to 5 groups of 7, which is why the grouping is very important, right? We keep using the word grouping here, 5 groups of 7. So 5 times 7 equals 35, and then write the statement here. Okay. Now, depending on how so-called they are managing in terms of this question, you might want to do a few practices with them, get them to draw on their own. Okay. With particular attention on this question, right? This kind of question. So you might want to get them to do 7, draw 7 on their own. Right. Let's focus on this because the rest they have done it before. Okay. Let me see if so this might be assigned as homework. Right. Perhaps you can do it like that. Okay, so 7 to be done in class, and then the later questions, right, they can do it as homework. Right, so the emphasis is on this, to make sure that they are able to draw this kind of a comparison, a model, which with multiplication involved. Okay, so that's for this booklet. If you have enough time, you might want to do a recap of this kind of question, right, in which the number of the quantity of each unit is provided, the total is provided, and you need to find out how many groups. All right, so this is the division method. Remind them about this dotted line because they don't know how many groups they need to draw, so they use dotted line to represent. Okay, so this is the focus of this booklet, right, which I think should take about perhaps 20 to 30 minutes, right? I think keep it 30 minutes so that you have enough time to move on to the next booklet. All right, now let's look at the next booklet. Now, for the second booklet, right, it is the focus on telling time to the minute. So in P1, right, they learn how to read the time, something like 7 o'clock, 7:30. Okay. Here they have, and here have to they for P2, right, they now have to learn how to read by the minute as well. So for this unit, for this lesson, it's important that you have some visuals to show on screen, right? So you might want to set up, get your projector or get your computer screen cast on TV, okay, so that you're able to explain clearly, right? Because if you decide to draw it on the blackboard, right, that would take too much time. Okay, so either you show it on the screen, right? You cast your worksheet on screen and then you show him, okay, so look kids, today we're going to learn how to read time by the minute, right? And so you have to count this together with them, right? From every notch is 1 minute. So this is 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, right? That's why when the minute hand points at 1 is actually 05. Okay, and so on. So make sure that you have visuals, right? And you are demonstrating how to count. Now, if you actually another way, right, of doing this is to use an online digital analog clock. So this one that I found that is very useful. So I'm going to show this to you, and I'll provide you the link, right, so that you can actually just use this digital clock, right, to teach almost the entire lesson. Okay, so let me show you the digital clock. Let me see. It is, where did I put it? Oh, that's strange. Thought I had it there. Give me a minute. Yep, the interactive clock. Okay, there you go. All right, so this is the clock that you can actually, it's quite easy to use. I'll provide you with the link, right? The link is fisnos.com, right? Demos clock. And yeah, so I'll provide you the link so that it's easier for you to teach them. So you can see when you use this clock to teach time, all right, telling by the minute, right? So you see every notch 1 minute, right? And there's even a digital version, to help them see, right, how it is working, right, for 5, right? So the time now is 8:05, right, 5 minutes. Fast forward, what if the time now is here? So the things that they can count is, they know that these are in multiples of 5, right, from what they've learned in P1. So there's 5, 10, 15, 20. If the needle points here, they can count from 20 onwards. 20, all right, 20, sorry, 20, 21, 22, 23, right? So it's 8:23. All right. Now, this is quite fun to use because you can even test them. So for example, if I use a random clock, right, you can ask them what time it is. Of course, you got to cover the digital clock. And I have ways of actually, like so-called, I'll show you, like if you like, I can show you in class how you can actually use a window, right? And window explorer to cover the time, right? So that when you play this game with them, right, random, and tell them, all right, let's see who is the fastest, tell me what time it is, right, to the minute. Okay, so 6:11, right? So you can actually do this random clock, right, to test them, right? So this is actually quite good to teach, right, because quite good to use to supplement the teaching. Now let me go back to the booklet. Okay, so for this booklet, okay, it is about reading time to the minute. All right, so they need to also learn the language, right? The time is 7:04 a.m. We can read it as 7:04, or we can read it as 7:04 is, say that 7:04 is 4 minutes after 7 o'clock, right? 7 o'clock, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 minutes after, right, 7. Okay, these are language that you need to teach them. Here, some kind of word problem provided, right? Clock shows the time David finished your homework on Thursday afternoon. What is the time shown on the clock here? So how do you read this? All right, we know that our hand is pointing after 4, so it should be 4 something, right? But 4 what? So remember that what I mentioned earlier on, some of them would really know that this is 30, this is 35, this is 40, right? So they can actually count forward from here, right? 40, okay, 41, 42, right? For those who are not sure, they know half an hour is 30. So they can count from 30 if they like, right? 30, 35, 40, 41, 42. So the time is 4:42. All right. Also known as 42 minutes after 4 o'clock. Now, also note that the language used, right, before is mentioned, before will be so-called tested, right, in the homework. So you need to teach them, right? So 42 minutes after 4 o'clock, right, would be the same as, let's count from here, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18 would be the same as, sorry, I counted wrongly, would be the same as 17 minutes before 5 o'clock, right? It'd be the same as 17 minutes before 5 o'clock, right? So that's one way of doing, right? 1, 2, is it 17 minutes? 5:42. Actually, no, it's 18 minutes before 4. I think there's a typo here. Isn't it 18? Let's see. Yeah, it says it's minus 43, but it's actually 42, right? Okay, all right. So I didn't read the part here. Okay, so yeah, it's 18 minutes before 5 o'clock. So you can actually do 60. No, I think there's a typo here, right? They got it wrong here. So let's not confuse them. All right. We can actually count it from this way. Okay, all right, instead. Okay, so now let's see what else. I would say skip this guided practice. Okay, not really essential, right? But just get them to do this instead. Okay, which you can always also use the clock, right, to teach early on, the digital clock, right? So they should be able to know things like able to say that it's 13 after 8 o'clock, time is 8:13, right? And then they also need to know before later on, right? Later on we'll test them to before. Okay, so independent practice, I would say some this kind of time reading is quite easy, so we can skip a little bit. And instead, if you'd like to use digital clock to test them instead, right? What you might want to focus on is this kind of section here. So all these are after, we should have teach a lot, but perhaps do get them to do page 12 as well. Okay, so here they can read that the time is 3:50. 3:50 is also known as 10 minutes, right, before 4 o'clock. Okay, so 10 minutes to 4 o'clock. right? So make sure that they know the language here, right? So this may be a bit challenging for some students. So remember, the focus is on teaching them how to express time using before, right? How many minutes before the hour and how many minutes after the hour, right? So that's the two main purpose of this question. I think these are quite easy. This one would require them to draw the line. Okay, so sorry, draw the minute hand. Okay, so you might want to do 1 or 2 questions with them, right? Show me 12:57. All right, where would that be? Okay, all right. So so the focus is on the minute hand, right? Our hand is really drawn, right? So then hands is not as complex. Might want to do a bit of practice in terms of 9 minutes before 6 o'clock. So how do they find out what is 9 minutes before 6? So they start counting from 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? 9 minutes before 12. Okay. All right. Sorry, 9 minutes before 6 o'clock. Okay, 23, they have to count backwards as well, right? So this is 10, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, all right. Now, the last 2 questions are optional. Some of them have a watch, some of them don't, right? But you might want to use the digital clock, okay? And ask them to fill in this answer instead, okay? And then finally, this one, these are optional. All right, so that's it for the 2 lessons. I will send you the link of the analog, digital analog clock very soon.